Hi there. I'd like to welcome you to my home. I'm Mike Ginsberg, and I'm here to tell you a little Christmas story. Everybody knows Santa Claus and Rudolph and Frosty and all that, and they've seen movies about Santa Claus's brother and whatnot. What a lot of people don't realize is that there was a son that Santa was raising. His name was Ginzy Clause. Ginzy Clause. Very few people know about Ginzy Clause, and some of the people that know about him don't believe that he really existed, but I can tell you he was every bit as real as Rudolph or Frosty the Snowman. Now, bear in mind, this was a long time ago. Ginzy Clause now, he's an old man, and in fact, the locals refer to him as Old Man Ginzy. But yeah, growing up, it wasn't easy, being the son of Santa. Now, early on, it was pretty cool. First grade, everybody wanted to be his friend. Golly, who wouldn't be his friend? You mean to Santa Claus's son, you're probably not going to get, what you want for Christmas. So, yeah, everybody really liked him. And, it was kind of cool because old Ginzy Clause, he always had access to the coolest things for show and tell. For example, while other kids were bringing Hot Wheels or their Barbie dolls or whatever, Ginzy Clause would bring Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and, make his nose glow and everything. It was pretty awesome. One time, he brought the abominable snowman in, and all hell broke loose. Everybody thought that, he brought him in there and he was going to eat everybody. For crying out loud, this dude was, 14 feet tall and was very capable of eating anybody, and most people only seen him when he had, like, a really severe toothache, so, they didn't know that he wasn't, all bad. But, anyway, once he put the star on top of the Christmas tree, which was like 12 or 13 feet tall, everybody realized it was cool, so, yeah, Ginzy, he had it made first, second, third grade, but by the time he was reaching fourth and fifth and sixth grade, things weren't the same. He'd go to school and everybody would be teasing him. My mom and dad says that your dad's not real. He doesn't really exist. There's no such thing as your dad. So he was hearing this all the time. And what's he supposed to do? Take him up to the North Pole? Now, see, part of the year, Ginzy Clause would go to school in the North Pole, or he wouldn't have access to his friends. You gotta understand, Santa Claus, but from, usually about September when the first school starts, up until Christmas time, Santa's super busy. And, he's got to check a list twice of every kid in the world. That's quite a job. But, he's got a whole network of elves that help him. But so he would send Ginzy Clause to school, to the nearest school district from September until Christmas. By golly, can you imagine? After Christmas, Santa was pretty much free. And, being the son of Santa Claus was really something special. In the summer, man, they went camping and fishing and did all kinds of things, It was great having Santa Claus as a dad, because you only had to work one day a year. But it had its down points, too. Like I said, he was busy. Good, 4 or 5 months a year, so. But, he had another, rest of the time, Ginzy had it made. During a time when, I think it was about 6th or 7th grade, Ginzy was, trying to convince people that his dad was real. After all, he was there. But, everybody's mom and dad, they kept telling their kids, no, Ginzy Clause's dad doesn't really exist. So, he thought it'd be cool to invite the kids up to the North Pole, have a party there, and they could actually meet, him, see him at work, and realize that, yes, indeed, he's real. So, he did that. But, at first, when he asked his dad, he's like, Dad, can I have some friends over? And we're going to have a party and blah, 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 blah. Well, of course, it was like October, He was super busy. And he was like, yeah, whatever you want, kid. Yeah, sure, go ahead. And he really didn't realize that, all these people were coming. Well, about 20 kids from school came. And unfortunately, there were 2 bad kids, and they brought alcohol, and they were like spiked the punch. And before you know it, there were kids like peeing in closets and puking all over the place and doing things that 7th graders normally wouldn't do. Well, it got so out of hand that the police came, and all the kids went to juvenile, and Santa even got arrested for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Of course, Santa, he should have known. He's got a list. He's checking on it. He's spying on every kid there is. Fortunately, he knew who the bad kids were because like I said, he had his list and he checked it twice. And he double was sure that the two kids that brought the liquor, who it was. But they confessed anyway, and everything turned out okay. Nobody got severely brain damaged from that experience. And they all learned from it, too. It was even Santa. Santa learned, better listen to my kid. He wants to bring 20 kids over. I better make sure they're all good kids. I have two bad ones in there, and just never know. During his high school years, old Ginzy Clause, he kind of kept to himself a little more. It wasn't so cool, to all the other kids who really didn't believe in his dad. So, he didn't want to push the issue. So he kind of quiet. And as he got older, too, the same thing. Even to this day, he lives with his wife, in a humble little small house. And he has a couple grandkids and himself and a couple kids. One time in high school, he read this story about this guy. His name was Pickney Pinchbeck or something like that. I can't really remember but anyway, Ginzy Clause was intrigued by the story, and what it was about the first black governor in America. And it was soon after the Civil War, and he was from the South, and somehow he got into politics, and the story intrigued Ginzy. So he went and got all the information he could on this story, and wrote this. And in the past, Ginzy got in a lot of trouble because he would play practical jokes and stuff. So he really worked hard on this project. Anyway, he had to give an oral report on this, and did a lot of research, and he was fascinated by it. He hadn't gotten into the oral report maybe 4 or 5 minutes when suddenly the teacher stops him and says, "Hey, wait a minute, Ginzy. You're making this up, aren't you?" And obviously Ginzy said, "No, sir. This is a real person." "You are too. There's no such thing as no Penny Pinchbecker. I've never heard of no Penny Pinchbecker. You're making this all up. You're gonna get an F." And, poor Ginzy was kind of, flipped on the thing. He worked so hard on it, and the teacher's gonna sit there and, call him a liar and say that he made it up. Pretty devastating, you can imagine. But you know what? Luckily, the kids stood behind him, and they convinced the teacher that he was on the up and up, and he didn't make the story up. You can look it up. There is such a person as a Pickney Pinchbeck. Yep. He knew more than the teacher on that one. Now that teacher went on to bigger and better things too. He had some very, very good success coaching, for all means, in a little Indiana high school. Pretty good guy. Won several state basketball championships. Ginzy, humble little Santa Claus son. He did all right for himself too. Well, that's all for now because I have like a 10-minute limit on these things. But there's more adventures of Ginzy Clause, and you'll hear about them soon. So until then, thanks for hanging out with old Mike Ginsberg. You always learn something. If nothing else, that he's kind of Looney Tunes. You think? Later.